The method is the message. That is how I would sum up the main theme emerging from the Synod experiences in Asia. Most of the local churches engaged in a consultation and set up Synod teams. The processes recommended by the Synod Secretariat were largely followed, and the 10 themes with their accompanying questions were adapted and translated into local languages for people to reflect upon. The most outstanding result was that when people participated in the consultation process, they realized what it means to be church, to belong, and to be a co-responsible agent of mission as a baptized Christian. Many people remarked that their voices were being sought for the first time, and some even cried tears of emotion at the profound experience of being listened to and included. A number of Synod teams went out of their way to reach people at the margins, including those living in remote areas, urban laborers, fisherfolk, people in prison, and those who have left the church. Moreover, there were many spontaneous and creative initiatives to publicize the Synod, generate interest, and make the process more accessible to various groups of people. The method of spiritual conversation was most commonly adapted, and some formation was given. It was not always carried out perfectly, but nevertheless, those who participated say they experienced a good communal dialogue where each person, whoever they are, has an equal chance to speak and be heard, and diverse or contrasting viewpoints are allowed to surface and be acknowledged. It was such concrete experiences of participation, listening, and discernment that helped people begin to understand what it means to walk together with one another as church. And many say they want to continue this way of proceeding. The process also opened up people's eyes to those who have been excluded, and they yearned for greater communion and inclusion with such people. Moreover, new working relationships were forged within and among local churches as a result of the Synod processes, and these are potential collaborative structures that can be strengthened. Quite surprisingly for Asia, people were able to speak honestly about the areas of synodal conversion needed in the church in Asia. These included top-down and non-consultative ways of decision-making, which is prevalent in many of our cultures, inadequate co-responsibility among the laity, clerical mindsets, weak formation, erosion of the spiritual life in modern society, lack of missionary zeal, inadequate solidarity with the poor, discrimination and ostracism in the church community, lack of transparency and accountability, and inadequate spaces for women, youth, and minority voices in church leadership. In this continent, where there is a relatively high level of religiosity, people express their love for the church and the importance of the faith in their lives. We also have the rich tradition of the Oriental churches, from whom the Latin Church can learn many synodal ways of proceeding. From the Asian people's perspective, synodality needs to take into account the issues of culture and enculturation, poverty and ecology, indigenous peoples, interfaith dialogue, dialogue with wider society in which we are often a minority, the importance of the family, and the potential of grassroots level communities. All these present both opportunities and challenges. Liturgy occupies a very, very big place in the Asian heart. Many people affirm its importance, but they also want liturgical activities to become more meaningful, engaging, enculturated, and accessible. Finally, the cultivation of relationships is very central in the Asian psyche. In many Synod meetings, there was a strong focus on the informal aspects of the meeting, where people interact socially and get to know one another. We believe that such bonding at the affective and personal level is very essential in building solidarity, harmony, and communion among diverse peoples. On the whole, the feedback from the people of God in Asia was less preoccupied with reforming particular rules or church teachings on certain things. Rather, people were calling for a reform of behaviors, attitudes, and structures so that we are more synodal with each other and put into practice what is already the church's teaching about synodality. No doubt those who participated in the Synod process were a small percentage of all Catholics. However, those who did participate hope that there is no turning back. The novelty of what they have experienced in the Synod consultation is how they want the Church to be going forward. So in this sense, the method is indeed the message of the people. Whether laity, religious, or clergy, they want a church that proceeds by listening, welcoming, learning, inviting the participation of everyone, dialoguing to discern God's Spirit, and going out in mission. From the deep joy and resonance experienced by the participants in Asia, this seems to be a good indication of the sensus fidelium about what it means to be church.